Hello, Ralph. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, that's great. We just finished to show the video with you inventing the video game.
You played the one with Harrison and me playing ping pong back in 1967?
Yeah, people really enjoyed the game.
Yeah. You hear what I said when I first started out? Here we are playing games when we ought to be working.
The audience here, there's a lot of people. I hope you can see it.
Yeah, I can see them fine. Hello, guys. I hope they're having a good time. You have a nice crowd. So, say something.
People will make questions to you and you will answer.
Fine.
Okay?
All right.
A minha pergunta é em relação à distribuição dos direitos autorais, né, de hoje em dia. Como é que você vê a distribuição dos direitos autorais sobre o videogame hoje em dia, né? Como é que você vê que...
I can't understand it.
We will translate for you just a
moment.
moment.
For you. Sorry. Então eu queria saber como é que você vê, né, essa questão.
How do you see the copyright?
The copyright distribution
of video games?
Yeah, nowadays, how do you see how these things working nowadays, the distribution of the copyrights? Do you agree or you have something to add in this matter? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Hi, my name is Viviane Werneck. I'm a journalist of games here in Brazil.
Nice and slow.
It's very nice to meet you. Well, my question is, how can you see nowadays this distribution of the copyrights of video games in worldwide? Do you agree with that, or do you have something to add in these rights? Thank you.
No, the answer is I just don't know. I haven't been participating in the game business except to develop accessories for the last several years. I really don't know how this is going to shake out. So, sorry.
Ele não sabe nem tem a resposta para isso.
I have a question for you, and it's pretty simple, and many people ask you anytime, every time, and how did you invent, why did you invent the video game? How did you come up with the idea?
Well, that's a question I can answer. Back in the 60s, most of you weren't around yet, what could you do with a television set at home except watch one or two stations that were on the air? That was about it. I'm a television engineer by degree. Excuse me. By degree. And I looked at that set and I said, we got to be able to do something else with that set besides watching commercial fare. I came up with the concept of playing games in September of 1966. In fact, I wrote a four-page paper that sort of lays it all out. It's like the Magna Carta of the video game business. A year later, we've gone through about 6 different versions of game systems. We were playing ping pong, we had light guns, we had joysticks, we had tethered hand controls. So a whole lot of what you're using today has our DNA in it. By our, I mean Bill Harrison, my technician, and I. Then it took 3 years to find somebody who wanted to move with the concept. That turned out to be Magnavox, who were a television manufacturer at the time. And in 1972, finally, like 5 years later, the first Odyssey game showed up, and some 100,000 were sold that year, and another 250,000 the next year, and that started the industry. Since that time, I've continued to work with some of the players. I built something for Logitech recently, which might or might not show up as an accessory. But I'm not involved in game generation anymore. That's your job. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you. Somebody here is saying that he loves video games.
Well, I love video game.
What was the first reaction when people play your video game, like your friends? How did they react?
Well, I ran a division at the time in 1966, 67 in a large military electronics company. I was the first one public inside the company. The board of directors and the president of the company came to look at it. Their reaction was not very favorable, and the only question was, how do we make money on this thing? And I got similar comments like that for the next 10 years until our licenses paid off, and we had a lot of litigation in the 50s, in the 60s and 70s, all of which poured money out of, like a water out of a bucket, out of a faucet. So when that money started coming in, everybody told me how supportive they had been. But there wasn't a very good reaction at first. Later on, when I showed it to my kids, and some of the neighborhood kids, they were very enthusiastic. That's it.
I have another question from the audience, and they ask, which video games did you play and which